Hi, welcome to Comms vNext, and welcome to A Mile in Our Shoes. My name is Joy Apple. I'm the Director of Success at Orchestra Software and a 20-year Microsoft ecosystem veteran. And in today's podcast here at Comms V, I have brought three wonderful women, colleagues, friends in the tech community, and we're going to talk about what it's like to walk a mile in our shoes. It's not unique to women, but I think we do have some unique perspectives about what it's like when life takes us on an unexpected detour and how we handle those detours. So thank you for joining. I hope you enjoy, and we're going to kick it off. I think I'll start to my right with Mickey.
Thanks, Joy, so much for having me and inviting me to be here today. It's such an honor to sit up here with you lovely ladies. My name is Mickey Haley, and I'm the Strategic Alliance Manager at Jabra, focused on the Microsoft partnership in North America and the ecosystem of partners.
Wonderful.
Thanks again for having me.
Thank you. Sharon.
Hi, my name is Sharon Weaver. I'm the CEO and founder of Smarter Consulting. I'm also a Microsoft MVP, RD, and MCT. I've hung out in this technology space for 30 years this year. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Siuni.
Hi, my name is Yuni, and I have been with Microsoft for a while, and I'm a principal product manager for Microsoft.
Wonderful. Again, thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be a real conversation, I think.
All right.
Yeah, because I think we go through things and we forget that other people are also living a real life.
Yep.
So I know I'll kick it off. I'll get things started, and then just feel free. Of course, I've got my notes because I am in IT and we have to be very organized, right? But the first thing I want to talk about, and I know we have our different challenges and perspectives, is I think we all tend to be going on around and along our way, and we have a plan, and things are going really well because I have a feeling we're all planners on this panel.
Yes.
So we're living our life, and we have our plan, and it seems to be working. And then all of a sudden, we trip and we fall on our face.
What?
Maybe it happened. It happened to me. It happened hard. But for me, it happened over a series of years when I didn't really understand what was happening with my health. And there's this fun little phrase that I have learned about in the last 3 years that apparently started about 6 years ago in my life called perimenopause. I was losing my hormones. I was losing my memory. I was losing my energy. I was in pain, and I couldn't hold things together like I could. I felt like I was a stranger in my own skin. But man, I was where I wanted to be in my career, and my family and my house was going amazing because that was the plan. And then I fell on my face, right? And it's interesting. I started writing about it. Now I've had other people come and go, oh, me too. That happened to me too. So your experiences and your detours might be different, but I'd be curious, did you have a plan? Were you working the plan and then there was a detour?
I'll go ahead and start. I would say just kind of backing up a little bit as the plan was, I guess, in place. I am not quite a planner. I always like to be and try to be, and then I find myself kind of flying by the seat of my pants at times. I try to be very organized, and then I tell people or remind them, I'm not OCD, I swear, because I really don't think I am. But then I'm like, am I? But my path in my career chose me. I didn't really have a plan. It started way back I started as a receptionist at a software company, and my career has just kind of taken on from there. When I had the detour, like you, it was my health as well. I was diagnosed with an aortic aneurysm in 2018 as a 43-year-old mom of 2 young children. And I found myself living daily with the anxiety and the fear of, am I going to survive? Am I a ticking time bomb? I felt like I was a ticking time bomb. During COVID, I was being monitored, by the way. There wasn't like an emergency with it, but the doctor really couldn't figure out why I had this. So it was just a mystery, and I remember commuting to work and being like, oh my God, if I get in an accident, my airbag is going to go off. What's going to happen to me? So I felt like I was hiding that. I've always shown up as Mickey at work. And nobody really saw the struggles that I was feeling mentally with the anxiety and the fear. I wouldn't say I really went into depression or anything, but just scared, very scared. And then in 21, I had to have open heart surgery because somewhere along the way, something that they didn't anticipate changing for maybe 20 years changed pretty significantly. And I had to plan for the surgery. Fortunately, it wasn't an emergency, but the plan revolved around my career. And then it evolved, well, I don't want to do it at Christmas time for sake of my family. God forbid, anything goes wrong. I'm a pretty positive, optimistic person. Excuse me. But then that timing wasn't right. And then, with work, well, you haven't been at the company long enough, so and then we decided in the middle of it all to put our house on the market, move, purchase a home. And I'm like, I can't have surgery in the middle of a fairly new job, selling our home, Anyway, long story short, there was so many twists and turns in the planning, but every day I still showed up on camera because that was, of course, coming out of COVID. So nobody really knew that was going on behind the scenes for me. And then I planned the surgery 3 different dates. And the night before, they got canceled. So imagine like mentally preparing yourself, preparing your peers, your work family for you being out of work for 3 months. And anyway, long story short, the surgery was March 4th, 2021. And here I am today.
And we're very glad.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a scary time.
It is quite the detour. My
Yeah.
goodness. I have follow-up questions.
I'm here.
Who's next? For your plan. And what was your plan? What was your plan before you found your detour?
I can go next. I kind of say that, if you make plans, God laughs.
Fair.
I've heard that a lot. I would say that pretty much everything in my life I've had a plan for that ultimately has not gone the way I planned. Kind of high level, I started pre-med. You guys see I'm a doctor, right? Now. Didn't end up in med school, ended up in technology. I kind of did my whole life backwards, and a lot of things that people don't know about me if you haven't known me very long. So I did not plan a lot of things that ended up happening, and then I planned a lot of things that didn't happen. So it's almost like my life went in reverse. I planned to be a doctor. I didn't plan to be a parent at 15 years old, and that happened anyways. And then I got married in high school, right? So I started really young. And then as I got older, I went into corporate, and I planned to stay. Mm-hmm. I planned to retire well. I planned to have this journey. And I got to a point where I was like, this isn't the plan anymore, right? I kind of got to certain points where I just kept feeling like I was tripping on my face over and over and over, like you said, Mm-hmm. And it's really funny because I think a lot of women have the same conversation, is that we have this health journey crisis, right, that happens. And it makes us think about, where are we in our lives and what are we planning for and how can we make it better? And I was going through a health journey crisis at the same time that I had other people in my family having health journey crisis same time. And it really made me think about like what's important in life. Mm-hmm. So I had this plan, figured it all out. And in 2015, my sister passed away unexpectedly. And I inherited her children and fell on my face yet again. Yet another plan I didn't plan for. And then so I got them and I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? And all of this kind of swirled together. And I said, maybe it's time for me to go out on my own. So I took all of this soup mix and I went out on my own. I created my own business, started doing things for myself. And let me tell you, I've been doing this for 9 years now. You want to talk a lot about planning and falling on your face. I don't know if you guys, on the movie Tangled, where she's like, I'm free. And then she cries, I'm free. And then she cries, right? I feel like that like every year. I make a plan and then I kind of fall on my face. And I've been starting to speak about this a little bit publicly because a lot of people have come to me and said, you need to say this out loud, right? We have these struggles. Everybody has these struggles. But I will tell you, as a small business owner, as a leader, as a woman in technology, there's all these things that we face behind the scenes. And it's everything from, I don't know how to run a business, to how do I get capital, to how do I manage people, to how do I build a business, to how do I get clients, all these things that you're constantly learning and growing and changing on, that now it's like every year it's kind of like I plan for the best case scenario, I fall on my face, and then I learn from it. I will tell you though, I've done it enough times now that I'm not scared of falling flat on my face anymore.
I like that.
And I planned to be healthy this week.
But you're a trooper.
I'm on the tail end of a cold. But yeah, I fell on my face and here I am, powering through.
We appreciate you.
So if I say anything too crazy,
It's the cold meds.
it's the cold meds.
Cold meds.
So I guess it's my turn now.
It's your turn.
So I think my life is always full of detour, and whether I expect it or not, I think I created some of the detour myself. So why? I actually grew up with a belief that your life is the sum of your choices. So when I graduated from University of Arizona, I actually got a few offers, and I make a decision to come to Microsoft because when I land, which is I was actually light on, it was like so sunny and bright, and I can see Mount Rainier, and I was like, whoa, this place is so cool, so clean, and the air is so fresh and crisp. I want to be here. So that's how I actually started my journey. But I got hired as a software engineer instead of a product manager. And at that time, I joined the Outlook team, working in the Outlook team and the client team. And like you heard from your friend and what, oh, you're not cool enough until you work on the back end, because back end is full of challenges that like the client, when you're working on client, you don't actually encounter. I was like, I can do that. So I start like striving for like another team. So I never stay in one team. And those are like the detour that I keep on doing with my career. I moved from like working on the Outlook. I actually moved to work on the SQL Server. I work on like, hey, who doesn't like compiler? So I joined the Visual Studio team, shipped the first .NET framework on shipping the system.example parser. And that's on and on. And then one day I actually thinking like, I was setting up the original VoIP product for Microsoft. And it was actually pretty challenging. And I was actually talking to my director at that time. And he said like, you're thinking about things like end-to-end and the experience and user experience. I think you should be a PM. Then I was like, oh, I should probably be a PM. So I took the detour. I changed my life around it, like around the decision that like, hey, sounds interesting, and I'm eager to kind of learn a new thing. So I become a PM. But not only the career that I actually make detour, it's also about like my other aspect of my life. Usually every 2-3 years, I say like, okay, I've been doing this kind of workout. What should I do? So I actually a certified yoga instructor. I was doing a triathlon. I was actually doing STP, Seattle to Portland in biking, from somebody who doesn't even bike on the road before.
Oh my goodness.
I was actually grew up in Indonesia where traffic is like congested and nobody actually bike in Jakarta unless like you want to be like adventurous and next to
Daring.
riding a bike in
Very
Jakarta
risky.
is full of challenge. So my mom and my dad never allow me. So I can ride the bike only in the garage. But I took those challenges from like not very good of like biking and then trying to do good. That's actually lead me to be a PM. And again, I thought like I will be in here, right? Forever. And then my parents get old. And then my sister actually passed away, so that I'm the only one. So I took again like another challenge to kind of move to Microsoft China for an assignment so I can be closer to my parents. And I was there. And then at the end of the day, my parents says like, no, 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 you don't go back to us. We go with you. So at the end, they actually left their home country and all their friends and all the things that they know to be with me.
Wow.
And for that, I really can't pay back whatever they sacrifice. Because they say like, we put you to school, we see your career and future is in the US. We don't want to hold you back. We want you to be successful. So now, not only like I was a caregiver for my dad who 8 years ago passed away in Seattle because of cancer. I'm now a caregiver for my mom who has Alzheimer's as well. So I'm not just a tech person. I'm
Right.
not just whatever. Like right now, I'm actually into calisthenics, so I can actually do pull-ups, full body pull-ups, no kipping.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Extremely.
So and then I'm also a caregiver to my parents, and I have 6, 7 mentees that I help them build their career, and they're in the 20s. But I'm happy
Yes.
with the decision that I make. I may not be as cool as you, Sharon, have your own company. I always admire people who has their own company and things like that. But yeah, if one thing that I can actually say, life is full of detour. You can make your own choice of the detour, but do it anyway. Do it for the adventures.
And make the best out of it when it comes flying at you.
So I'll throw this question out. I'm curious. I think there'll be some similarities, but I think there'll be differences too. Like for each of us, there's some similar threads, but there's some very different threads in there as well. Like, and you touched on this a little bit, Mickey, but what were the things, or what are the things? I think we still go through, figuring out how to pivot when we have to. What are the things for you that you think are the hardest that people don't see? Because I would like to share some of that, because I know we're all going through things, even if we don't. Not everyone gets on a podcast to talk about it. So what are those things that you think that were the hardest for you that people didn't see, that someone that's watching with us might connect with?
I have an answer.
I love
I've been
it.
thinking about this one a lot. I think the day-to-day, and I'll just call them struggles for me because of, I've got teenagers that have put me to the test multiple times. Love them to death. I think the day-to-day grind,
Yeah.
you always think it's the day-to-day grind is work. For me, work is not the grind. It's being a mom and a wife and a primary parent and juggling all of the things and the detours that get thrown at me every single day.
Yeah.
So from the start of the morning, I start at 6 a.m. because I align with my East Coast coworkers and team. From 6 to about 7:30, I work. I've got calls, meetings, and when I see the clock and I know my kids are not up for school yet, that's when the detours start for me, and it throws me off track a lot. And I think I always am faced with having to make a choice of staying focused on this call and being present in the meeting because I'm getting paid to do a job. I work from home, and I've tried relaying this message to my kids many times that, we wouldn't have the things that we have if, I didn't work this way or my husband and I didn't work this way. But they're kids. And, that's kind of when the detours start for me. And then throughout the day, the phone's ringing or the texting is happening. The dogs are barking. They need they need to be fed. They need to be let out. The Amazon package comes and it throws off another detour when I'm in the middle of a call. And I do, work for Jabra, so you guys can't hear the dogs barking, but I can, and it's distracting for me. So for me, it's the daily detours that I kind of am balancing all day long that a lot of people don't see, except my work bestie, who I'm literally working with closely every day.
Besties see things nobody.
That is true.
Oh my god. Oh my
Joy and I have seen some
We've seen some things.
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good call out. It's like sometimes just getting through the day.
Absolutely.
So if you're watching along with us or you watch this later and you're like, does everybody else have that perfect Instagram work life? No.
No.
How about you guys? What were those hard things that people didn't see?
I was just going to say, I love it on the moms groups. I don't know if you guys are on moms groups, but I love it on the moms group when somebody says, I'm having a rough day. Can everybody just please give me a candid shot of your house right now to like make me feel sane? Now, luckily, my children are all grown. And so I just want to take a moment to tell you how amazing it is to have an empty home with nobody in it for the first time in 34, 35 years. But I do believe that there's something to be said about the fact that everybody thinks that you live a certain way. Everybody thinks, what has a perception of what your life must be like. And Joy and I have talked about this at great length, about how people see one thing on the front end, but what's really going on behind the scenes is not always the same thing. I think, so I'll speak from a business owner perspective. I love that you have the mom perspective. From a business owner perspective, I had a lot of those struggles when I was a mom with kids at home. Now that my kids are gone, it's really interesting. People think having a business is cool, and it is. Don't get me wrong. It's the best thing I've ever done. At the same time, there's also nights that you're staying awake saying, I have how much that has to go through in payroll tomorrow, and is it actually going to clear or not? And this is a regular thing that happens on a, everyday basis. Am I going to be able to meet the needs of all of my clients? Am I going to be able to show up and do the commitments that I've committed to? Have I overcommitted? Am I undercommitting? Can I depend on people to do the things that they need to do? And I think ultimately what ends up happening is, from a resiliency perspective, which by the way, I got a resiliency coach for myself for Christmas a year ago. And boy, did I not know that I was going to need it. But I got this with the idea that, as you grow and as you change, you need somebody to lean on. And what I learned was, as we go through all of these things, we need that resiliency. But behind the scenes, I think things are falling apart for a lot of different things every day. And you're just sitting there holding them together. Mm-hmm. And people just don't see all those things that are happening.
I actually want to add, besides resiliency, I think discipline is actually a very big thing for me. So I actually take care, I'm giving an example, I take care of my mom, right? There's a lot of discipline because she doesn't cook anymore because I don't want her to forget to turn off the stove or something. So from morning till evening, I actually manage her food. So the fact that at 88, she doesn't have any disease, no heart issue, no diabetes, no high blood pressure and things like that. I think it's because I also put like a discipline and resilience towards my mom activity. She has the activity to do socializing. Her food is always balanced in micronutrient, has enough like protein. She actually exercises. She has her own time for growing her spirituality even when she's 88. And I think those are like and managing to do those for myself as well, right? Because all of those are decisions that you make to keep your health, to eat healthy, to sleep enough. You don't believe like what I did for sleeping. Like I have my hoodie, I have my night cover, I have my earbud to block the noise so I can get a full good night's sleep as well. So, and I was telling Joy yesterday that I don't actually drink alcohol for more than 10 years because it's kind of like also helped me to not interrupt like my good sleep and
Yeah.
metabolism as well. And that's discipline because like you saw like all your friends are having fun. I know how fun it was before, so
Yeah.
it's a decision that you make.
I
And
love that.
eating a boring thing, like even like at the Microsoft cafeteria, the person who take my order already laugh. Like, okay, the egg white scramble with spinach and the grilled chicken,
see it
isn't it?
coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
No.
guess what? It's actually discipline is cheap because the lunch is only $8.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
So that's discipline from food and budget. No, I like that. I know for myself, it was a dark few years for me, just trying to figure out why I was losing myself, and my husband was trying to figure out what happened to who he thought was his wife, and be a daughter to my mother and a friend to my friends and all those things. And I could remember one night I was so frustrated, like I locked myself in my closet, closed both doors because I figured it was the best soundproofed room. And I just screamed. And I screamed. And I cried. It was ugly. It was ugly crying too. Because I just felt like I had all these emotions that I didn't dare let out to anybody else. Because you show up as work Mickey, right? I'm joy.
Yeah.
I'm the joy of SharePoint. I'm joy. I'm always so happy. People, you're always so happy. You're always, not always,
Yeah.
right? Not always. And I think sometimes our family sees the less polished version of us because we're allowed to break down a little bit at home. But I didn't want my family to see that either, because then I think he might have thought I actually had gone crazy. But finally gathering the information and doing the data and the research and learning what was going on with my health and not just being told by doctors, oh, we'll give you antidepressants. Well, you're in your 40s, so you're going to be tired. You know, pushing through that and advocating for myself is what got me through. And having people I could talk to through that got me through a lot. So I think we're going to be closing in on our time here in a few minutes. But before we start closing in, what would you say? I've got two more questions, but what would you say to those that are out there? We've got women that are in various stages, kids, maybe empty nesters, maybe caregivers to their parents, or maybe they're trying to decide at 3:00 in the morning, sitting on the foot of one of their work besties' beds and asking them, should I want to own my own business? Right? They're not through it yet. They're facing that detour and they haven't gotten to the other side of it. What would you say?
I would say embrace it and don't do it alone. It's that, to me, it's that simple. Just know there's so much support out there for all of us these days. I think we get caught up in being prideful and we don't want people to see that side of us. But I think in this day and age, being vulnerable is not frowned upon anymore. It's actually something that when you all support each other, it lifts you up and kind of helps, you know, when you're in a mom's group or when you're talking with your work bestie. My work bestie's sons are grown now, out of college. So she's in the midst of everything I'm going through with my kids or my family life and different challenges. I bounce it off her. And she allows me to, and I trust her advice. So if I didn't have her as an outlet, I would be in the closet, and I have been there before. I would be in the closet screaming my head off and crying also. So she definitely saves me from myself on many occasions. That's it in a nutshell. Lean on your friends and your work besties and your support system. If you don't, they don't know what's going on and how to help you.
So would you say that's the one thing that you held on to that helped you get through those big
Absolutely.
It keeps you sane during the day, during the little ones.
It does. It
Yeah.
absolutely does.
I like that. Sharon.
I really like what she's saying about embracing. I second that. And I actually want to add a little bit to that, which is own it. Not just embrace it, but own it. Own the detour as part of your decision. Because if you own it, you feel like a lot more empowered to make changes. And like, for example, I'm not kidding about like at 2 a.m., my mom will call me because she's frantically missing place her knitting needle or something like that. And she can wake me up like because she will scream in the house to, like call my name to find it something in the middle of the night as well. And I don't think like she meant to torment me. It's the disease that's like doing that to her because she's panicked like the, and I have to go up and then like help her and not yell at her. So, right? But why I can be like a little bit more calm, even though I'm like on the way up to see her, it's because I feel like I am owning that decision. That is the detour of my sleeping peacefully that night into like, okay, mom, let's find this. And then we'll actually help you to get, by the way, my mom's is have like a forever jet lag. So she never changed her sleeping pattern to like the US time. So she's always up until 4 a.m. So things can happen during that time, which actually will wake me up. But that is like, I'm very nonchalant about it because I accept it because those are not only I'm embracing it, I own it. This is the decision what I want. If not, I already send her somewhere, so to be taken care by somebody else or something like that, right? So
And I'd just like to add to that as well. Owning it, embracing it, is what got me through my planning for my open heart surgery and through the surgery recovery. Because I could have been one of those negative Nancy's, not to call out any negative names, but I could have felt sorry for myself and I could have gotten very depressed, but I owned it and I will have to do it again someday. And I feel like the way I put that in my own head is, well, I had 2 babies, so it couldn't have been that bad. I mean, I got through it. I feel like I went through it with flying colors because I embraced it. I owned it. I accepted it.
Yeah.
And I was back to work in less than the 3 months.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
I 100% agree with the owning it. Keeps you grounded, I think.
yeah.
I like that.
I would say definitely own it. Run out the fear. Don't run away from it. Most of the time, we're more afraid of the thing that we're looking at than what actually is going to happen, right? So we're more afraid of making the decision to do something, and by the time it actually happens, it's way less scary than we thought it actually was. And so I always kind of think about, if you're in the middle of a decision and something's really scary, it is more important to make a decision. Whether, whatever it is, get it done, get through it, because you're going to find on the other side that it was far less bad than you thought it was. I think another thing that I would say is most people are more concerned about their own lives than yours. So to your point, I think, being open and vulnerable is great, but I think sometimes we awfulize kind of what's going on in our lives. We think everybody else must know about all these things that we've awfulized. And I think for the most part, most people don't even know, let alone care. And so I think for the most part, like just be you, do your thing, don't stress about it.
Be authentic.
And be authentic. Yeah. And most importantly, I would say from the resiliency side is one of the things that I've learned in the resiliency training is make awe part of your lifestyle. And that's been a big difference for me is one of the number one things to resiliency is having moments of awe in your life. And that's basically understanding that there's something bigger than yourself. And whatever that means to you can be anything, but just making sure that you have something awe and inspiring in your life to keep you focused and keep your perspective grounded.
Like that. I think my advice would be I'm a data girl. I love my data. When I'm faced with a problem or a question, I research. And when I started putting the puzzle pieces together, because there's like more than 80 symptoms that could be part of a woman who's stepping into perimenopause. It's not just hot flashes, though I did eventually get those. They're horrible. Husbands, love your wives. Sons, love your mothers. Brothers, love your sisters. Right? You know and love a woman that either is, has, or will be going through this. It's very hard. We feel like we're losing ourselves. I feel like I started getting agency over my own life again by doing the research and taking the data. And I mean, I was wearing my smartwatch at night to track my sleep so I could prove that I was waking up 23 times a night. 23 times a night. No wonder I can't remember anything. And just like I went back and I wrote pages and I went in with notebooks and charts and data and research and I listened to podcasts. And I was willing to fire doctors because you're paying that doctor to be there for you, right? I'm not saying the doctor's always wrong if you don't agree with their decision, but you can talk to multiple doctors and physicians. You can advocate for your health and do that. I think the kind of our older generations were more willing to say, well, that's what the doctor said, so that's what I'm going to do. And I've gone to my mother-in-law before when a medication didn't get approved by insurance. Is your doctor fighting? Are they fighting back?
Now.
We have more choices. Fight back, push for it, advocate for yourself. And I think what was really hard for me was going in and owning up to like my husband of this is really how I feel. I really don't remember having that conversation. Or, just you can't always be superwoman, and that's hard sometimes. And on the flip side of that is just figuring out how to embrace it, how to get through it. That's a struggle and a challenge too. Unsolicited, unasked for piece of advice. If you are a people manager, the CEO at my company, Michael Pizarek, I had a very open and honest conversation because I felt like I was failing at everything. And I was like, this is what's happening. This is how I feel. He was like, I've not picked up on any of this. Mm-hmm. But how can I support you? How do we make this better for you? That was a very pivotal moment for me. So Michael, if you ever see this, thank you. And I wish more leaders had that mindset for their people. Final question. What would you tell your younger self that's looking at those early plans?
For me personally, because my career brought me to my most fulfilling role today that I'm in, I also did go off track. I'm a hairstylist by trade and license. So I did that. I graduated beauty college in high school before I graduated high school.
Oh, wow.
So I've kind of always had my hands in it a little bit, but don't be afraid of the detours. Again, I use the term like embrace them because you can get caught up in that can put you in reverse. Mm-hmm. And sometimes reverse isn't always a great thing. You need to try to keep moving forward and pushing through those challenging times. I think that I wish as my younger self, I would have known that women, especially our age and mothers, and we take the mental load on of everyone. And I'm kind of going through that phase right now where it's like I don't have the capacity to take on any more mental load. So I'm a little on strike right now. But looking back, you're given advice, you're given coaching and mentoring. It's all how you manage it and how you bring it forward in your life as you're pushing through. I probably maybe wish I would have learned how to be more confident in my younger years to get me where I am. I think one of you said something that made me think of this moment. So you invited me to be here. And since my heart surgery, I have learned to face my fears and do things that I might not have done before that, because it just is a different mindset after you've gone through something like that. And this was one of those moments that I overcame, and I could have easily said what I would have used to say, which was, I'm going to be on booth duty and I'm not going to be able to do it. And that wasn't even on my mind. I was nervous, I'm not going to lie. This being here with you three ladies made it very easy for me. But learning to face those fears and overcoming them, I think if I could have done or learned a lot earlier on, would have maybe helped me in different areas of my life. But here I am.
I love it. I love it. Ladies?
I would add that stop looking back, at least for me. Sometimes, even though after this detour, I was going back, and so I have this habit of at the end of the day, I do reflection. But this habit is good and bad, at least for me. So the bad thing is like, it actually sometimes can drawn on me. So when my dad, for example, passed away, there is like a time that I was feeling full of regret. Like, do I not read the sign that he is having like sepsis sooner? Should I actually take him into ER sooner? And things like that. And that includes like any other decision about like, should I actually have been taken my mom to have MRI sooner than 10 years ago? And the advice to my younger self will be like, it will not change. In Buddhism, that's like what second arrow. Pain is uninevitable. That's what Buddha says. But suffering is optional. And suffering comes from like looking back, oh, will I get infected with this arrow that hit me? Who hit me with this arrow? Why hit me? All of those actually doesn't matter, but you spend so much energy and focus on that. And hey, focus on like solving your problem. Get yourself healed from the pain. Don't spend time on your suffering because it's actually going to drag
You can spiral.
on. Yeah. That's why he said, pain is uninevitable, but suffering is optional.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah. My brain just went dead.
It's okay.
Tell me
I
the
can
question.
go while you think.
Tell me the question.
What would you tell your younger self that
Oh, that's
hasn't
right.
hit the detour yet?
Sorry.
You're fine.
That was a detour moment,
That was a detour
Sharon,
moment.
that's all.
No, what I was like listening to this. I would say to my younger self that you are fabulous just the way you are. I spent the bulk of my younger years, despite the fact that I did pageants and modeling and all kinds of crazy stuff that I have a really fun history. I always wanted to be somebody else. I was always not enough of this or not enough of that, or I wanted to be a little bit more of this. And I literally looked at everybody and always wanted something I didn't have. And that always made it so that I couldn't enjoy who I was. And it took me a really, really long time to get comfortable with who I actually am and to love me the way I am so that other people could love me the way that I was. And I think if there was one thing I could do and say to younger me, it would be to just, you're just great the way you are.
Beautiful the way you are.
Love it. That resonates. It resonates deep. I think I would say, because you always think, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that. And I've got some things in the past. I was like, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that. But then I wouldn't be right here, right now.
Yep, exactly.
Right? So I would tell myself, it's worth it. The detours, the things you think are mistakes, they're worth it. But I have noticed on I've been on hormone replacement for almost 2.5 years now. It's taken that long to really start to get better. I saw immediate improvements, like with pain, but I'm settling in. And I read this the other day, and I thought it's so true. I'm settling into almost like who I was when I was younger, but now I like myself. And I used to never. So I relate to that very much. I lost some of my people pleasing along the way, but they still like me. So it's not too bad. So I think that would be my advice to my younger self. What you think are mistakes, it's worth it. You're going to get to a really great place. Confidence, and like you can learn to love yourself for whoever you are. Well, ladies, I believe we are at time. I am very, very thankful for you taking the time out of a busy conference day. We've got expo halls, we've got booths, we've got sessions, we've got all kinds of stuff going on, customer calls and everything, but you're here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
for giving us this safe space to be able to get these things out there. I think this is so important, and we need more of these in our world.
Well, I might just have to take you up on that. All right. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Happy Comms vNext.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.